My sister chose her stepdad over our dying father for her wedding, so he disowned her, and his final act of revenge from the grave destroyed her. Plus one update. This is going to be a long one. For some backstory, my family used to be really close, but that all changed in 2003. My 55-year-old dad discovered that my 54-year-old mom was having an affair with John, who was my dad's childhood best friend. He was basically a brother to him, and was even the best man at their wedding. My dad begged her to stay and work things out, but my mom ended up leaving him for John. They got a divorce, and my mom married John just 5 months later. My twin sister Sarah, who was 27 like me, was always the stereotypical daddy's girl. Dad spoiled her a bit more than the rest of us, and she was basically his shadow back then. That's why it was so surprising when Sarah chose to stay with our mom after the divorce. At the time, she and I were the only ones still living with our parents, as we have 4 older brothers. I chose to stay with Dad, and Sarah chose to live with Mom, though she would come stay with me and Dad on the weekends. To say that the divorce and my sister choosing our mom messed up my dad is an understatement. He tried to act like he was okay in front of us, but every single weeknight for the year following the divorce, I could hear him cry himself to sleep. After the divorce, the relationship between Sarah and Dad didn't change that much. He started to spoil her a bit more than usual and remained the usual super dad, showing up to every parent-teacher conference, ballet recital, and soccer match, and being the most present dad possible. Things started to change when she suddenly changed her mind about med school. Our dad is a surgeon, and she had always said that she wanted to follow in his footsteps. But Mom and John ended up pressuring her to change her career path to become a lawyer, since they are both lawyers. During her studies, John started mentoring her and they became really close. After she finished her education, he got her a job at his law firm. This all leads to the main issue. In 2017, Sarah got married. My dad was absolutely thrilled about her wedding. He gave Sarah a blank check for her dream wedding. To be fair, he did this for all of us kids, as he really loves weddings. But in Sarah's case, he was especially excited because she is his only daughter. I always remember him talking about walking her down the aisle. In fact, at every wedding we went to, he would always tell her that he couldn't wait for the day he would get to walk his little girl down the aisle. One day before the wedding, Sarah drops the bomb that Dad and John will be walking her down the aisle together. Well, my dad is the most non-confrontational person to walk this earth, and she expected him to just suck it up. But he didn't. They got into a huge fight, which was the first time I'd ever seen him truly angry. In the end, he didn't attend the wedding, and John ended up walking Sarah down the aisle alone. The fallout was massive. After the wedding, Dad and his side of our family basically disowned her, and their relationship became non-existent. She tried to reach out after a while and make amends several times, but he simply didn't want to talk to her or hear about her. We expected him to turn around when she gave birth in 2018, but he doesn't even want to meet her kids. Earlier this year, he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. Unfortunately, the treatment didn't work and he is terminal. Even with that, he still doesn't want to see her again, and she doesn't understand that. I am very close to my dad, and these last few weeks have been really difficult for me. How do I convince her to let him go? Update. Some people asked for an update. Unfortunately, life isn't all about happy endings. This is a sad ending. A week after I posted the original post, my dad started getting worse. His health started declining really fast. We lost him exactly 1 month ago. It wasn't pretty. I never thought it would be. But I also never imagined it would be this heartbreaking. He was in so much pain, and he had been through so much in these last months. As heartbreaking as it was for us, he deserved to rest. He was tired. In the end, he was lucid enough to say his goodbyes to me and my older brothers. Hearing what he said to me was one of the most painful and beautiful moments of my life. His words meant a lot, and I won't say exactly what he said because it's just too personal. He said goodbye to my daughters, who are 11 months and 2 years old. It was just like when I was a kid. He gave them a kiss on the forehead, told them to be good girls, and said that he loved them. It was something I won't ever forget. It hurts like hell that they are so young they can't understand what happened. They still ask about Grandpa, and every time I try to explain that he isn't coming back, they don't seem to get it. But how can I blame them? I'm only 27, and I honestly don't get it either. I was supposed to have a lot more years with my dad. It doesn't seem fair at all. The worst part was my twin sister Sarah. Dad died without speaking to her. I tried to talk to him about her, but he wasn't interested. She started getting more desperate, and then suddenly he died. It was expected, but she was in denial. His funeral was beautiful, and a lot of people shared their stories about him. It was nice. Sarah saw Dad for the first time since the night before her wedding, and she didn't recognize him. He was very skinny. Dad had always been a bit overweight, with the classic dad bod, but he had lost so much weight from the cancer. She cried a lot during the whole funeral. Mom and John tried to show up at the ceremony, but my uncles were forced to kick them out. Good riddance. Dad's will went about as expected. His family came from old money from petrochemicals, so he always had a lot of it. He left a little bit of money and properties divided equally among all his kids, including Sarah. He also left a trust fund, which was a lot of money, for all of his grandkids. This included Sarah's kids, whom he had never met. It was honestly expected. My dad never really cared about money that much. He just wanted us to be comfortable and to make sure his grandkids all had something to support them. The tricky part came with the personal things he left behind. He left a very long, personal letter for each of us, except for Sarah. It was really personal stuff. In my letter, he spoke to me about our story and about my childhood. It was really nice. I must have read the letter 100 times and I cried every single time. One of Dad's favorite hobbies was photography. He was quite an enthusiast, and the subject of his photos was almost always our family. When he and Mom were together, it was all of us, and later it became just me and my siblings. As a result, we had a lot of pictures from us growing up. He gave each of us a photo album, and on the back of each photo he wrote something, like where it was taken and a few words. I was honestly very surprised by this. He must have done this long before he died. It was a very thoughtful goodbye gift, something that was very typical of Dad. Sarah didn't get a letter, and her album didn't have anything written behind her photos. When she found out about this, she had a mental breakdown. The regret was eating her alive, and it still is. She was admitted to a hospital and spent an entire week there. She is doing a bit better now, getting a little better every day. Her husband and I are really confident in her recovery. She is sleeping and eating almost normally now. She still starts to cry randomly multiple times a day, but it's getting better. At least that's what I am telling myself. Which brings us to last week. My wife and I discovered that we are expecting again. It wasn't planned. My wife switched birth controls last month and she spent a week without taking the pill. It's still very early in her pregnancy, so we haven't told anyone yet. The thing is, I'm really angry. I'm angry that my future kid is not going to be able to meet Dad. I'm so pissed, honestly. It doesn't seem fair at all. I'm angry and I'm scared. My dad was supposed to guide me through parenthood. He was teaching me so much with my daughters. I'm scared of doing this without him. I'm scared of not being a good father like he was to me, because my kids deserve that. This is it, folks. This whole situation could have been a lot better. I play the what-if scenario in my head every day, but unfortunately, it doesn't change anything. This is honestly a bitter ending. It doesn't seem fair at all, but that's the thing about life. It's actually never fair. I want to thank everyone who gave me advice and who reached out to offer support. I was very lonely at that time and still am. Fuck this year, honestly. It meant a lot to me. Thank you, Reddit.